Welcome and thank you for tuning in. You're listening to the Beyond 50 radio program. I'm Daniel Davis. Midlife, health, these are two very important things that synonymously go together. After all, what good does it do us to get older if we're not feeling better? It's estimated that 1 in 2 people who live in the United States actually take supplementation to be able to have all the nutrients they need that they're not generally getting from their food. So the question is that if vitamin sales total nearly $12 billion annually, it is known that most supplements do not prevent chronic disease or death. Their use is not justified and they should be avoided. This is according to a study published in the Annals of Internal Medicine. And I know that many years ago, before I got myself into media and radio, that I actually worked for a pharmaceutical manufacturing company in which my job was to receive the raw materials that came in to making these various supplements. And I can certainly tell you that I kind of scratched my head at some of the things that I found going into these, and I kind of questioned myself as to how clean they actually are. Joining us here on the Beyond 50 radio program today is the founder of a company that is based in Vancouver, Washington, that makes the claim of nutraceutical products, calling them the cleanest supplements on the planet. We're going to discover how this company goes above and beyond other nutraceutical companies with their harvesting of pure ingredients and creating evidence-based formulations to make that claim. We'll also understand why the products they create are ultra-formulated to maximize the health benefit and not their profits. I'd like to welcome the Beyond 50 radio program today, the founder of Revivify, our guest, Ben Doe. Ben, thank you for joining us here on the Beyond 50 radio program.
Hey, Daniel. Thank you for having me.
Now, tell us how this all started for you. What was your motivation to create this company? We obviously see what the results are, but what was it that got you started in this direction?
So just like you, I got involved in a vitamin manufacturing company a few years ago, and on the separate side, I've been buying this stuff for my parents all the time. And being that I'm Asian, we use some of these as home remedies as well. That like turmeric, that we use that quite a bit when you're being injured for inflammation and such. And so I buy this stuff for my mom online. I buy it for her when at Costco. And as I got into the industry, I'm looking at it. I'm like, well, what is it that I'm really buying for her? And I start looking deeper and deeper into what's in it, what's being used, what's kind of ingredient. And I found that a lot of these products are using ingredients that are not clean, and also using a lot of synthetic fillers. And then there's really no standard in the industry if you work in the receiving side of these material to really go through, because the FDA look at this as a food-based product, so they only go in and monitor the processing of it, and not really what's in it as an end product. And so with the lack of standard, the quality of the products in the marketplace is pretty low. And as I looked at that, I found that it's really an opportunity to make a better product that really make a difference in people's lives.
Now, you bring something up that I think should really be paid attention to, and that is the lack of, I'm trying to think of the right word here, regulation.
Right.
Boy, it's kind of crazy out there. And there's been this long debate, about, the greedy pharmaceutical industry is trying to go in there and suppress the nutraceutical companies and so forth. But the fact is, this really is something that needs to be addressed, that this is an industry that needs closer examination, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And that's kind of where we see that because of the lack of regulation and folks looking deeper into it, there's really a lack of quality and a lack of consistency across the board. Last year, I think, the end of last year, or the end of 2014, the New York Attorney General did a study on products from Walmart to Target to GNC, and found that there's nothing but rice flour in there. Like, how is that even possible?
Rice flour, huh?
Yeah. And so looking at that, there's absolutely a lack of quality is one, but also as you know, from a food side, people are looking for gluten-free, sugar-free, looking for GMO-free, looking for organic, So my question was, why aren't those questions being asked for your vitamins? I mean, your vitamins are basically coming from your food, And so why aren't those same questions being asked? And why isn't a product that should have those same quality? If you're concerned about those items from your food, why not from your vitamins?
And it's also interesting, too, when you take a look at these supplements that we take, and certainly this has been said to me over the years, is that a lot of times we pass these supplements through our body without ever absorbing the nutrients that we're allegedly taking these for.
Right. Yeah, and of course that depends on the person, the delivery method, and so for us, we always, for someone, starting to take or have been taking, the process have always been that the first step is you got to consider doing a gut cleanse to be able to clean out all the gunk, because the absorption is at your small intestine and all the grooves within that. And when, over time, they could be built up that could cover those areas, those surface area for absorption. And so you need to kind of clean that out. But at the same time, when you do that, you're going to clean out your probiotic as well. So we have a gut renew that has, over 40 billion plus in each capsule of the 8, primary strain of probiotics that you can replace that. And then that should help maximize. But you're right. A lot of folks takes a lot of vitamins and it just kind of passed right through and it's not really being absorbed. And then for us, we kind of look at it and say, hey, we just want to make the cleanest vitamins and ingredient product that we can so that it would maximize that absorption. But the absorption rate from person to person is very different.
Now, tell us what you mean exactly when it comes to saying clean supplements. What exactly goes on there?
Yeah, so for us, clean supplements means that the ingredients are GMO-free, they're gluten-free, sugar-free, it's all natural. So all natural means there's no synthetic colors, synthetic sugar, artificial flavoring, none of that. It's just from an all-natural source. Now, there are natural occurring sugar, there are natural occurring gluten, but it's below the standard that's being set. So like for gluten, if you're below 20 parts per million, that's considered as gluten-free. So we have tests that we use from Eurofin, a lab that's worldly known that would test that for that. And then also we use all ingredients are vegan-based because we believe that ingredients that are coming from plant-based are cleaner and that it would help the body absorb better. Just like a lot of vegan, because when you use animal-based products, really you don't know what was being, what kind of hormone was being used, what kind of antibiotics was being used, and then of course on the plant side, from the clean, certainly knowing what kind of pesticide was used or was there, how it was cleaned, what kind of water was used to be extracting the vitamin or the herbal extract, and so there's a process into that as well. But those 5 things are what we consider as clean.
Now, it's really interesting that you're bringing all this together, and these are things that people just don't think about. And again, as I said, more than 30 years ago, I had actually worked in the industry very briefly on the receiving end of the raw materials, and I was really surprised at the sort of things that don't go into all of them, but even just some of them. For instance, spun glass. To receive this, I actually had to wear a mask to keep it from breathing in. And I'm thinking, they actually put this in pills? Not all of them, but some of them. I don't know which ones, but the fact that it's almost like a lottery. You think, how do they come up with this? Maybe they don't do it anymore, but, it's really important that when you're looking at the shelf at the store, it's pretty overwhelming because those labels just scream, there's organic this, all natural that, you need this, and it really gets very, very confusing. Tell us how what you do, to me, would streamline and make it simple to make those choices that we need to make.
I'm sorry, can you clarify? What do you mean simple for people to
well, like I said,
or?
yes, we're standing here in front of a shelf. I don't care if it's GNC or, any other grocery store. When you're in the supplement aisle, there is just boxes and packages and boxes of all the multitudes of colors and words that entice us to be able to decide when we reach out, that's the one we want to buy because it's the best one out there to achieve the goal I'm looking to have. What I'm asking is, how do you, as a company, perhaps streamline this process to make it easier for us to make better choices that actually help for what we're trying to have help with?
So, looking at that, there's a couple of components to that. Certainly this clean concept is very new for folks, so it's going to take a lot of education and explaining to do that.
Sure.
I mean, looking at that, I'll have to go through, besides from being clean, when we also call ourselves ultra-formulated, meaning we don't really do any product that are single vitamin or herbal extract products. It's really a combination of different vitamins and herbal extract that work together to help maximize the result. And also, it's also more cost-effective as well, and have evidence that it's working for them. And I think that's where, for us, we look at it as really one customer at a time. We have someone who's using it, who feels the difference. They're going to go on and tell their friends about it. And they're going to go on and tell their friends about it because it's working for them. And it's cleaner, too. And so I think that's kind of where we look at it from the standpoint that we're going to acquire a customer, one customer at a time, and a customer for life. It's kind of our approach to really focusing on how we want to market our product. Because we really focus on the end result of it, that making stuff that have impact on people's lives, not just impact for our pocket only.
Now, tell us how someone can actually discover whether or not the supplements they're taking are clean.
So we have all the information. We're in the process of compiling all the information and loading it onto our website so that folks can pull it up for each product, and also creating an app that will put a barcode on each of our bottles so that when someone who downloads the app, they can scan it and upload that information. So that's kind of the really in process that really kind of make everything transparency. But for now, the simplest way is really quick and easy. Is all you have to do is look at your other ingredients. So those are basically the fillers. You have to have fillers to, like the vegetable cellulose caps to put the vitamins in. You're going to have some silica. So we use the cleanest one we can, which is bamboo silica and L-leucine. But all you have to do is look at the back of your supplement fact, below that, and other ingredients. And so I have an example here is, I bought some stuff for my dad, the glucosamine shift from Costco. It has only 2 ingredients in it, hyaluronic acid and glucosamine. And on other ingredients, it contains, probably about 10 of them. And it also said, hey, contain shellfish, shrimp, crab, lobster, and crayfish. So just looking at that with how much fillers there are in there, and looking at how much filler we have, you'll realize that the reason the pills that Costco or a lot of these other products look so big is because it's filled with fillers. It is basically the simplest way to determine if the product is clean or not.
So basically what you're suggesting is you read the label, and if it gets more than a paragraph, then, well, that might be something you want to avoid.
Yeah, more than 3 or 4.
Especially if one of those paragraphs is just one word.
Yep. And, to speak from clean, you're going to have to go to the source, because, you work in receiving, right? So in the manufacturing side, you would order the ingredient, you would receive it. When you receive it, they would test for potency. And then, once it's past potency, it would go into their warehouse. Once they pull it, they mix it, they retest it again to make sure the mix is passed. And then once the product is done, they'll test for metals in the product. But that's the extent of most of these manufacturers. There isn't really any testing to finalize if the product contains 500 milligram of glucosamine. Does it really have that? And we have taken the extra step to do that, to show that, hey, our product does contain all these ingredients that we're claiming that it's containing. Mm-hmm. And also test to claim for, the gluten-free and the sugar-free as well. But then on the other side, like, where are you getting all your ingredients from? And for vitamins, you can get it pretty much anywhere, and we try to source it, domestically as much as possible. But when it comes to the herbal side of it, 80% of the herbal comes from China and India. You can't escape that. If someone say, hey, we're doing herbal, we have herbal, but we don't buy stuff from China and India, I find that hard to believe. So what we did is we know that that's where we're going to have to get our stuff from, our herbal products from. So what we did was we traveled to China and India and audit the supplier to ensure that the ingredient that we're getting, we understand where it's coming from, how it was cultivated, if pesticide was used, how was that pesticide being cleaned, what kind of water that they use for extraction. Because I don't know if you're familiar with that movie Aaron Brockovich, but that hexachromium-6, China is having a lot of problem with that right now with water. And so, how carcinogen it is with that chromium-6. So we went over there and we're like, where are you getting your water? How are you cleaning it? How are you testing it? Where are your steps? And really understanding where all that coming from. And that's helped us feel confident that, hey, our products are truly clean, and not just because we say it, but we have all the source documents to prove it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's fascinating, too, when you think about this particular industry that you tend to see a lot of direct sales companies being created as a result. And what happens is you have these people who decide they believe in a particular product because they discovered it, whether it was through a friend, however it was. And then what they do to really kind of bolster this belief in the beginning is they start throwing all this science at you. Okay? Now, I can see that you're just using what would be considered to be logical steps. The first thing we want ingredients that are, for you to know directly what is in this that you're about to take. But also it's clean, so we want to follow the steps to be sure that happens, that you don't really totally need to be a scientist to follow the logic in this particular process here.
Yeah, and we're not using ingredients that are totally new, that are newly discovered. We're really just using ingredients that are already existed, that are being used, that are generally being known to help. So I'll give you an example. So this would be an example, kind of what is clean, what is ultra formulated, and evidence-based, really. So most joint products in the marketplace would have 1 to 2 ingredients. They do either a glucosamine with hyaluronic acid, glucosamine with MSM, and between those two. So if you look at joint, when people have joint issues, of course, they need glucosamine to help rebuild, right? They need hyaluronic acid to help lubricate. But when you have joint, you're going to have inflammation. So, you got to have the MSM and the Boswellia to help with reducing your inflammation. But at the same time, you're still going to have pain. So a lot of folks, I talk to them when they have joint issues, they go say, oh, I take a glucosamine and hyaluronic acid, but then I also take a MSM and omega. And I was like, what are you doing for your pain? Oh, I take aspirin for that. So ibuprofen for that. So you're telling me you're taking like 6 capsules a day. It's like, yep, I do that. So I was like, okay, so if you look at our product and the glucosamine here is from shellfish. Is where typically it's from. So for us, we take our glucosamine from plant-based, so green clone. And then we also have MSM and boswellia to help with the inflammation. We have white willow bark, which is a natural aspirin that help with the pain. But then we also have, ginger, DHA, and turmeric to help with the rebuilding, and also have hyaluronic acid. So you really have an all-in-one, and it's convenient for you. It's not only a cost-effective, but it's also convenient for you to take that. And not having to worry about taking 6 things. So that's kind of where we're not really doing, we're not saying that, hey, we're like, we have all these scientists and all these formulations. We're really just taking what is being worked, is working in the marketplace on these ingredients. We put them together, at the right level to help with your joint issue. But also we try to source the cleanest ingredient that we can, and combining that to give you a product that would help you with your issue and maximize your result, but also being a cost-effective way. So it's really a concept that we think that makes a lot of sense.
Well, it sounds to me, too, that what you're really doing is ultra-formulating. Now, tell us more about that.
So, like I mentioned before, ultra-formulating means that you're seeing a lot of product in the marketplace. Vitamin A, vitamin B, glucosamine, MSM, omega, hyaluronic acid. They're basically selling it all separately. Separately, they may look a little bit cheaper, but when you're combining all those together, it can cost you a lot of money when you do that. And also, you end up having 6 capsules, 8 capsules, 10 capsules that you're taking a day. So the question is, what are you taking really besides those vitamins? Because those capsules are pretty big. So, you can't just make vitamins small because people feel like they're being cheated. So the capsule size are pretty large, or the tablets. So what are you really taking there? So what we did is we say, hey, we just take the main active ingredient of each of those products that have been shown to help with a specific issue, and we basically combining it together within 1 capsule. So instead of taking 6 capsule, 8 capsule, you're taking 1 capsule or 2 capsule a day. And like I said, not only it's cost effective, but it's also convenient for folks as well. Because, taking 8 capsule a day is challenging.
Now, it's really interesting when you think about the fact, as you were saying earlier, well, if vitamin or whatever it is seems small, then people feel cheated. And you kind of think about how we as a society, especially in the United States, when we hear something is good for us, well, obviously more of that is better. But that's not really the case here, is it?
No, it's really based on how your body absorbs, right? How much can it absorb? How well can it absorb? And it's really about the absorption piece. So what we try to do on our multivitamin is we typically put 200-300% of your normal daily intake, just to make sure that you if you absorb less than 50%, that you still getting about 100% of that. So it's really, when folks ask me, hey, is this stuff going to work? I'm just, based on the information on the ingredient that we use, it has been shown, clinically proven to show that it would help you. But the question is, how is your body going to absorb that? How is it going to process that? And it varies from person to person. So I'll give an example. Our joint product, with the white willow bark, which is a natural aspirin, for people who have pain, when they have joint issue, they have pain. It varies from 3 days to 10 days. They can tell the difference that, hey, my pain has reduced or subsided quite a bit, and after a month or two, it's like, hey, it's gone away. So it really varies from person to person. So it's really difficult to say, hey, you're gonna be able to absorb all of that. And that's something that we're looking to do on the next step of our company, is to look into personalized vitamins. That's probably not the topic that we want to go into today, but maybe another time that we can, once we're closer to that. And I think that's where you would say, hey, am I really absorbing this or not?
Well, I'm really glad that you keep bringing that up because this is something we're actually going to be doing a talk on again. And it's something that, say, 5 years ago, you weren't really hearing a lot about, and that is the idea of gut health, okay? And it doesn't really matter what supplements you're taking, as you were saying in the program, if you're not absorbing them. It just, really doesn't matter. So let's focus on one of the things that you have there that actually has to do with digestive health, which you have available, because honestly, as I'm talking with you and I'm looking over your website here, which is revivifymylife.com, I've come to see that really the price that you have on most of your products are not only reasonable, but if they can compete with groceries prices, you're kind of like scratching your head like, boy, this is different.
Yeah, so from the pricing standpoint, a lot of folks tell me, hey, you should do a multi-level marketing. You're going to sell so much of this. This is such a great product that you're going to make a lot of money off of it. And I personally have shy away from that, the multi-level marketing piece, because one, it's going to push the price up. Two, people are not selling because of a quality product. It's the motive behind these multi-level marketing programs. I'm not saying whether their products are good or not. Let's just not talk about that. Let's just talk about the motives of why people do it. And I look at that and I was like, I want people to buy my product, try my product, because it's a great product, it's a quality product, and it helps them. I don't want people to buy it because, hey, buddy, I'm doing this. Can you just, instead of buying Costco, can you just buy this stuff from me? That defeats the purpose of why I created this company. And so I was not looking into that. And as far as the pricing, well, you're looking at where, it's coming directly from me, from a manufacturer to the consumer. I got no other layer in there. I work with, naturopaths and chiropractors in such different areas to expand it as well. But it's really, there's really no multiple layer of cost to where it pushed the prices up. So we want to make sure that it's reasonable for folks.
Well, it's certainly worth looking into. As I said, as I was talking about, we wanted to improve gut health, to improve better absorption, and people can discover more by visiting your website. So what I'd like for you to do, if you could for us, Ben, is go ahead and give out the website information and what people can expect there.
Yeah, so the website is revivifymylife.com. It has essentially all the products on here, about 20 of them. It ranges from joint to weight loss to digestive health. And on the digestive health, there's several items where we have a gut cleanse that would just clean out your gut. And it's really an easy process where it just kind of helps push out a lot of the stuff that's been kind of stuck in your digestive tract there. And then folks would take a gut renew, which is the probiotic. It's a 40 billion plus count in each capsule, to replenish that, and that should help maximize the absorption of any vitamins they're taking. And then you can place order on here. I believe I've sent out with the ad the code for Beyond 50 Radio for a special promotion on that, and we do free shipping for all orders over $50.
Well, Ben, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us here on the program today. I think one of the last things people would expect to hear about is clean supplementation, but as we've talked about it, as you've shared with us, it's certainly not only logical, but it's worth pursuing as well. And thank you so much for joining us here on the program today. And for our listeners again, go ahead and give that website again one more time.
Yeah, it's revivifymylife.com, and thanks for having me.
We want to thank you, the listeners out there, for tuning in. Again, discover clean supplements, and certainly Revivify. You know, like I said, I'm looking right here on the website, and the prices are extremely, very, very good for something of high quality like this. So check it out. RevivifyMyLife.com is where you'll discover that. You can also discover more at our website, which is Beyond50Radio.com. That is the number 50. We encourage you to sign up for our weekly e-newsletter as well to stay up to date on what's going on around you. I'm Daniel Davis. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Beyond 50 Radio program, and remember, live your day past halfway.